We're back. This is the top four. I am not that person. I'm Marcus Mailer.
I'm still Graham, and I'm still in the same seat.
We'll get that fixed up in a bit. All right, we're going to jump straight into our top four match, which is Team Australia, aka Grixis Delver, versus Death and Taxes.
Yes, and just in case anyone's interested on the other table, we have Death and Taxes once again versus Sneak and Show.
Yes.
So we'll just jump to the action. We're already in the middle of the first turn.
Yep. We started.
We have Jesse Dent on the Dragon Stompy type of Death and Taxes.
Yep.
And Mark Reifer still on the same deck.
Yep. So I did... The match is taking place on table 2. I was able to sit and watch the... it was a Black-Red Reanimator versus...
Should have been Blue-Black Reanimator.
Oh, that one. Was it? No, it was Black... Blue-Black Reanimator. I got there. Versus... I'm tired, man. Versus Sneak and Show. And it was a hell of a match. There was some serious back and forth.
I can imagine so. Now, this is interesting in that, as Stephen himself just pointed out, he owns both of the decks on the table at the moment.
Does he?
Stephen Stamopoulos has provided both of these decks for this event.
Oh, mate, you just needed to play one and you'd be set. You're doing it wrong, man.
Yeah, guaranteed top 2 position for Stephen Stamopoulos in this particular top 8.
You get a percentage of the prize, right? Like,
I'm fairly sure that's how it works.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you cut like a third of the card off, right, and then you get it. That's how it works.
So just going through the opening motions here, Jesse plays Thalia and Stoneforge Mystic getting Jitte, and Mark playing Deathrite Shaman, getting Wastelanded, and drawing a Daze, and just about to go down to his second threat. So Mark has a lot of counterspell interaction at the moment, but outside of that, he can't really deal with permanents on the board at the moment. So he's going to be looking for some form of answer to that Stoneforge Mystic before that Jitte gets online, I would say.
Yeah.
With that said, Jesse doesn't have a white source, so he can't necessarily activate the Stoneforge Mystic yet.
Both of those are naming human, I would guess.
One will be naming Core or Artificer, and the other one will be naming Human.
Yes, correct. Of course. Yep,
human and Artificer are our choices today.
Yes. Now, Mark on the other side of the table, looking at 3 good cards.
3 good cards. I think this is his Ponder at the moment. So he's got a Force of Will, a Spell Pierce, and a Ponder, and I think he wants to just shuffle them up. He's got...
Yeah, I don't think he needs any of those particularly right now. Yeah, he's got
a Force and a Daze. The only thing that you might...
No, keeps them on top, draws
them on top. So I would say this is so that he can... deal with the Jitte that's about to come down next turn, but apparently I'm wrong because he instead plays down Delver.
Plays down Delver, guaranteed. I think he gets a guaranteed flip, obviously. Doesn't get to hold anything unless was always planning the Force of Will.
Okay, so he's just using the Force, the Spell Pierce that he picked up as a blue card, and then
that is a very nice altar.
It is. He'll have the Ponder on top of his library though.
Yeah.
No, it's a question I would need to ask Stephen to make certain, but I'm not sure. Is Team Australia named so because all the creatures jump up into the air? The Delver and the Tombstalkers?
I've heard many reasons as to why it's called Team Australia.
Because it's a kangaroo in that case.
All right, so so Delver does its best impersonation of a kangaroo and jumps into the air.
Yeah, so as it just got pointed out in chat, he could have used the Deathrite Shaman, got one of the lands and used that for the Spell Pierce last turn instead of the Force.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. That would have probably been a more solid play. Oh well. So that is Delver number 2, the unaberrated version, I think.
Unaberrated is how you refer to a...
Well,
before the science experiment went wrong.
Yeah, before everything went wrong. All right, so that's a Sophie?
That is a Sword of Fire and Ice being hardcast, and Mark's staring at it a little dejectedly by the look of his hands.
Yeah.
Reveals...
Delver to Delver.
Reveals Delver to Delver. That's an interesting choice, but you can do that if you wish.
I was going to play it anyway. It is a may. You may reveal it, and if X is true, then Y happens. But
There we go.
X was not true.
So I think we're about to see a block with a Deathrite Shaman here before the
Yep.
Sword of Fire and Ice gets online and makes fast work of those Delvers.
Yes.
Otherwise, if those Delvers flip next turn, which Mark has a Delver Brainstorm in hand to make it do just that,
Yep.
we're going to see a lot of damage on that side of the field.
Yeah. So, yeah, a flip here represents a lot.
So Mark elects not to block. Reveals Force of Will, flips the 2 Delvers.
Outcome's the same, right?
It is, but it means that, he would have the 3rd Delver on the field, so he would be dealing 9 damage rather than 6. And
He also, so that's completely wrong, right? So he would have, so if he chumped with the Delver, if he chumped with the Death right there, he flips 2 Delvers, has 9 power in play. Jesse has 1 less card.
yeah,
Okay.
it seems to make a lot more sense to me.
Yes,
but
okay.
obviously, I'm not on the pilot seat at the moment. It has obviously been a very long day of Magic at the moment. Heading into about 6 hours of play at the moment.
Yeah. It's been quite quick, actually. Like for the amount of Magic that's being played, the day's gone. The day's definitely kicked on.
That's true.
It hasn't been a long day. It's just been a lot of Magic.
Yep. So, Sword of Fire and Ice shoots one of the Delvers out of the air.
Yep. Again, chosen not the block.
And looks like we need an Underground Sea and a Lightning Bolt, and we can pretty much lock, and we might finalize the game here. So there's the Underground Sea. We're still looking for a burn spell.
Stifle.
The Stifle's quite nice in that it can stifle the Sword of Fire and Ice.
Yeah,
so I think the
Stifle's the
winning
safer
line
trigger.
here is take the Polluted Delta, swing for 3 with Insectile Aberration, use the 2 damage from Deathrite Shaman end of turn, stifle the Sword of Fire and Ice so we can't deal any more damage, and then finalize it with the Deathrite on the next turn. And Mark just takes all the damage because he doesn't really care. So, Mark actually has the win on board at the moment. And Mark forgot to draw for turn. So
Getting a little bit ahead of himself.
goes and does the first part of what I just suggested to
All right. So, So Mike has made maybe a few minor play errors and stuff, but
at the
long
moment,
day of Magic.
in order to win, he just needs to activate Deathrite twice and stifle the Sword of Fire and Ice activation.
Yep.
And we'll just see if that happens.
Yep. So he's put himself in the position to be able to do that.
Yep.
Yep.
And Jesse really doesn't have any life gain in his deck outside of a Yumezawa's Jitte. We'll just see what's about to happen, though. He does have a Sanctum Prelate, but still no white mana on that side of the board, which is a little bit unfortunate. So swings him for 3 and
Alex
points at it and stifles it.
Okay, well,
No, just pointing at it.
I'm a bit confused. So Jesse pointed at the Insectile Aberration. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so Mark is just double checking which part of the sword trigger can actually be stifled, and that would be all of it.
Yes, the part that triggers when it deals damage. And Delver
chose not to.
So he's just going to hope the Deathrite works, and then Force of Will if there's a swords in play, which we'll see.
Okay. Interesting. Revoker, that's going to name...
Revoker is going to get Force of Will.
That's going to get Force of Will.
Pays 1. Force of Will.
1 life, Exile Stifle.
And if there's a swords, then this would be the time to use it. Unfortunately, it does not appear there is.
There is not. So...
Yep. A few more moments.
Revoker goes away. Mark untaps. Immediately activates Deathrite and wins game 1.
And win games 1.
Drain you for 2. Oh, not drain you, but remove 2 of your life.
So the Stifle line still seems fine because
You're left with
he
the,
has the option of the Delver on the in play there,
Yeah,
so
the-
he
the
can
Del-
just
the
swing in
Delver-
for lethal,
Delver remains in
even
play.
though
Yeah.
the Deathrite Shaman would get revoked.
Yeah.
But just a question of exactly what line he wants to take.
Had
Apparently
a
there are
few
many
options.
routes to victory. So in terms of the various Delver decks that we do have running around, because there's a few different variants that we've got today, the Grixis Delver is nice just because it does have Deathrite Shaman and it gets has the option of just playing around the taxing effects that the Death and Taxes players do generally have access to.
Yep.
In terms of what I'd bring in from this sideboard, the Abrades for the equipment, the Marsh Casualties for their creatures, and then maybe some Thoughtseize, maybe some Snapcasters, but it's not too relevant.
So we'll jump across and take a look at Jesse's list and see what he might be looking at.
Yeah, so we've got Containment Priest, Council's Judgment, Disenchants, Canonist, Magus and Moon, Pontiff, Pithing Needles. I would imagine that the Magus of the Moon and the Odds of Pontiff is coming in along with the Rest in Peace isn't as relevant in this matchup as it is against the Rug list, but we might see something like just having a quick look through. Pithing Needle seems good against the Deathrites at the very least, and sort of Fire and Ice isn't the worst either.
So just to clarify a little bit of discussion going on in Twitch chat at the moment, they're actually Mark did actually allow the sword trigger. He did say he did yield the trigger immediately. So he did say, sure, it looked like he might not have, but Jesse did not draw before he was meant to. So Mark, so nothing untoward there. Our level 2 is sitting next to the table and making sure everything is above board. Standing next to the table.
Not enough space there to fit a judge in along with the two tables.
Yep.
And looks like they've all sorted that out.
Yeah. So there was, for reference, there was a Mark said sure, and then potentially wanted to change. Either way, the sword trigger was allowed.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There was a minor rules change that happened recently, which meant that if you say sure, it doesn't mean yes that happens anymore because of some confusing events like this.
Yes,
so if you say sure, it's acknowledging that thing's
it could
going on the stack, but not that it's resolving.
It could mean a lot of things. Yeah, sure doesn't necessarily mean yes that resolves. Yeah.
Yes, when it did used to mean that.
I imagine it would have. Yeah, language is a very important part of this game. Communication is a big part of is a rather large part of the game. Being able to communicate efficiently. Say what you mean when you say, kind of thing.
Yes. And then like at the Pro Tour level, when you're playing against people who don't even speak the same language.
Yes, they say. I suppose at that it's not about being at that level. I think you just get used to it and you understand. I think
what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, they play very deliberately in terms of very clear communication. Also, I suppose having judges that speak the languages also help.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that as well.
Yeah.
We do have a result from the second table. The Death and Taxes player Jack Jiggins has won the other game 2-1.
Oh, beat out Sneak and Show.
Beat out Sneak and Show, which is what the deck is kind of designed to do.
It's designed to do that, I guess. Yeah, I shouldn't be so surprised. It is definitely a well-oiled machine at beating combo.
And now we just need to see whether we've got the mirror or this matchup again for the top two. So each of the players just going through the opening motions.
Yep.
Jesse doesn't have a turn 1 play, but Mark does have a turn 1 Delver.
Yep.
Puts the Wasteland to the Delver and then follows up with a Mum.
So there's a 10-cent piece in play? No. Okay.
The 10-cent piece on top of the library.
That's a reminder. That's a
reminder to
Yep.
Flip the Delver.
Yes.
And we have a Fatal Push on the Mum, which could kill it even if it was a 4-cost Mum.
Yes. Thanks to the Revolt trigger.
Just having a quick look at exactly what land to get. Not going for the bad lands like he did last time, so that we don't have any unfortunate true names that you can't cast.
Yeah, that was. So apparently, last game, I think I actually wasn't watching the match last match. Did he run into an issue with the?
He cast a true name. We passed the turn, and then we discovered that he couldn't cast true name off the Badlands.
No, two blue.
So very wasteland-proof mana base we've got on the other side of the board. There's an extra planes in Jesse's hand, and we've got a reader here.
Yeah, we've got a reader.
That is Spirit of the Labyrinth that we're reading, which says
Yes.
players can't draw more than one card a turn. Not sure if it's one card a turn or whether it's outside of their draw step. Flips Delver to Lightning Bolt, so that
doesn't matter.
Yeah, that Spirit is running away very quickly. And
Get the exact text of Spirit of the Labyrinth here, just so
yes.
if Gatherer would function for me. No, it doesn't seem it wants to.
Mark fetches up a volcanic island and fires up Bolt Off at the Spirit of the Labyrinth. So Jesse's got the third planes in hand, as we did say, and that means that his deck can start doing what it wants to be doing, because he's got a lot of action up at that end of the curve. And Mark fires off a Ponder, digging for the third land for the true name that he's got in hand.
Yep.
Sees 3 draw spells and shuffles them away.
Yeah, so the Spirit of the Labyrinth is just a blanket rule, no more than one card per turn.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. So that is a Aberration. That's a Jedi.
Playing around a daze very deliberately there.
Yep.
And just going to pay possibly 1 extra for everything until further notice.
Yep.
Obviously not a threat, so Mark just leaning very heavily on that Insect Elaboration.
Yep.
And follows it up with a True Name Nemesis.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so Mark pretty much just has to beat him with these each turn, and he's pretty much done for the day.
Yeah.
But obviously he wouldn't mind drawing an Abrade or some other way to deal with that either.
Yep, so Flicker Whisk gonna...
Deaberize?
Yep. Yep. Oh, look at his back. He's but a mere scientist in a laboratory.
Delving for secrets.
Yes.
And
Ships a
Mark
turn.
does not get a instant or sorcery. Instead, he draws a Tombstalker and immediately puts that down on the field. So that Flicker Wisp may be quaking in its boots at the moment. What's going to be on the other side? If he equips a Jedi, though, it means he can follow it up with a kill spell, though.
All right.
And the Tombstalker, obviously the key card that makes this Team Australia rather than just the traditional Grixis Delver.
Big MF flyer.
That's the one. The mother flipping flyer, is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Swings in for 3 with the true name. And Mark's played both games just like it's very much just the creatures getting in there and Jesse trying to keep up on the wrong side of the control deck if you're trying to play it in that manner.
Yeah, exactly. He's just sort of been on the back foot, whereas Death and Tax generally wants to be a little bit more proactive.
There we go. He's got a Sword of Light and Shadow there. So that one, when it hits a person, brings a creature back from the graveyard and lets you gain 3 life.
Yep. Pro white and black.
Yeah, he's got a mum in the graveyard, which means that...
So the Flicker Wisp
can-
is on blocking duty.
That's right, and it can block everything. Well, it can't necessarily block the Delver, but it can block the Tombstalker forever.
It can block the Tombstalker forever. However,
And if he attacks with it, it negates the true name.
Yes, but I think the fact he has to block the Tombstalker means that the true name will at minimum will present a 3-turn clock rather.
And looks like we've got a reader on the other side of the board as well.
So flip some marsh casualties.
Yeah, so that does -1/-1 to your opponent's creature, or -2/-2 if you kick it.
Yep, I had a read of that one earlier today. I actually hadn't could not remember what that card did for the life of me. Saw it on
Yeah.
someone's board. Had to look it up.
Got played in Vampire Aggro back in the standard that was Shards and Zendikar. Plays out Deathrat Shaman, attacks with True Name, and holding back the Tomb Stalker. Now it's interesting that if Jesse equips the if he equips the Jitte after this play, then he can negate a lot of the damage if he does
Yes.
attack just by gaining life off the Jitte counters.
Yeah,
But it is also a lot of damage that's coming his way.
yeah.
He,
So he could theoretically.
he was on 9 life and
So if he was to
attacked for 6 to 3? Or
Yes, that's correct.
yep, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
So if he was to equip Jitte,
Mhm.
swing back, he'd gain 3 life. He could use the 2 counters to kill. He'd still be dead on the backswing though.
Well, he could gain 4 life.
Yeah, but then you're still
But-
losing life. You it's a net loss of life. Where you would end up back on 2 life as opposed to
Yeah.
being on 3 life, right?
That's true. So he's
Yeah.
gaining 7 a turn and then,
Losing more than that.
yeah, and losing 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, fair bit.
Losing 13.
Just a cash 13. So not in a good spot. I don't know what he can draw here that actually helps him.
He passes the turn back and he's tapped out, so I think he just scoops him up, but
Yeah. Mark turns everything sideways. Jesse gains some life and dies
might
anyway.
kill a Delver? No, he figures out the maths and
Yep.
decides not to do anything further.
So Mark takes it with Team Australia. Grixis Delver over Death and Taxes.
That's right, and
In the
so
top 4?
that means the final is going to be Grixis Delver versus Death and Taxes.
Yeah. There it is. That was a relatively quick one. We'll just move along, I guess. We'll be back in. We'll give the
Yeah.
players a little bit of time to
Just
ready
settle
up for
Absolutely. Make sure everyone's
the
ready.
final.
And once again, it's going to be Jack Jiggins versus Mark Rife in the finals.
Yep. We'll be back. See you guys. See you
See
soon.
you soon.